Oh, this is the Geosci 106 video project. It's about geochronology, also known as rock dating. So when rock dating, there's two methods that scientists use mainly. It is the relative and absolute dating methods. And so the difference between the two is that relative dating, we can find out relatively how old a rock is compared to another rock, and it's not very precise. But with absolute dating, we can find out exactly how old a rock is. So to understand this a bit better, I have an example set up here with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So with relative dating, we know that breakfast comes first, dinner is last, and lunch is somewhere in the middle. But with absolute dating, we can figure out that breakfast is exactly at 7 a.m., 12 p.m., and 5 p.m. in this example. And so that's just the basic principle of those two methods. Um, But going along with relative dating, a real life example is the law of superposition. So if we look at this image, the arrow is pointing to the bottommost layer of the sedimentary mountainside. The law of superposition says that the bottom layer is the oldest, which also means that the top layer is the youngest, which is a pretty interesting concept. And going along with that, we have faunal succession, which the principle of that is that fossils appear in a specific consistent order, and these fossils can actually be used by scientists to correlate the age of the fossils to the age of rocks, which is also pretty cool in my opinion. But if we want to find out exactly how old these rocks are, we can use absolute dating, and a way to do that is through radioactive isotopes and their half-lives. So what this means is that rocks have radioactive isotopes in them, and these isotopes decay over time into a more stable form. So some common isotopes, however, are uranium-235, 238, and carbon-14. So if we look at carbon-14, it says it has a half-life of 5,730 years. What that means is that carbon-14 will actually decay into nitrogen-14, which is the stable form of it, after 5,730 years. So if a scientist finds a rock and it has carbon-14 in it, and exactly half of it is carbon-14 and the other half is nitrogen-14, then that means that rock is 5,730 years old, which is a very important concept that scientists have figured out. With that being said, that's the basics of geochronology. Thank you for watching.
Created using Powtoon.